There we go. Steven, you're always in charge for this part.
Is my camera not working?
No.
That's weird. All right, I'll try to fix it while we start. Okay. I can say the opening prayer, and Madison can say the spiritual thought. All right. Our Father in heaven, we thank thee for this day. Thank thee for all that thou hast given us, for this opportunity we have to meet and discuss this case as a group. And we thank thee for all the many blessings you give us each day. We ask thee that we may learn from each other's ideas and perspectives on this case, and that we be able to grow in our understanding about the decision that Jim Sharpie made in this case. We love thee very much, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. Hold on. Okay. I have a good one. You thought you were tricking me with that quick turnaround there. Okay. This is a quote from Gordon B. Hinckley. It says, in all of living, have much fun and laughter. Life is to be enjoyed, not just endured. And I think that is something that we should all think about, especially during school, like we were saying right now, how we're like, I at least feel a little overwhelmed with like school and work, and I'm getting to the point in the semester where I'm just like, like I can't wait for it to be over. And sometimes I have to stop and remind myself, you know what? I shouldn't just be enduring this. I should be enjoying it, and I'll have to think about like the little things throughout my day that make me happy. And like, I used to like have a little notebook, and I would write down like all the little positive things that I saw throughout the day. So I think that's important that we spend time focusing on like things that we enjoy in life and not just things that we are enduring in life. And that is the end. Amen.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
So this case was pretty short. Well, I mean, the questions were pretty short.
Yeah, it was only 5.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We should get through it. We should get through this pretty fast. And there's no like second part to the case or something.
Yay.
So the first question says, assess this venture from Jim Sharpie's perspective.
I think he thinks he's like king of the world.
Andrew doesn't like him.
He's super proud of himself. I don't know. Maybe just from like the first perspective, and he's always like, I have this experience, and so I know I'll be great. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he did seem a little cocky, like when they were trying to decide on how much he would buy the business for, and he was kind of stubborn, like, well, then I'm walking out, and then kind of caught himself and realized that that was not the way he should have approached it. So I feel like maybe this venture will give him that experience that he needs to kind of be like, okay, calm down. You're not as great as you think you are.
Yeah.
He'll probably learn a lot.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go for it. No?
I thought we were waiting for Steven to say something.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my camera's not working today for some reason. But yeah, so I was gonna say, so we saw that he has experience because he worked for GE, so he has some experience, some background on how to manage like a company. Well, not really how to manage one, but he's worked always behind the lines, and he saw how things got done. But this is the first time where he's actually like he's the boss, and so it puts a lot of pressure on him. He specifically asked to be like 100% owner of the whole thing, right? Because usually people who enter a business like that, they want to be like, I'll be like 50-50 or 50 or 60-40 and like share it with like some other partner. So in case he fails, the other guy fails too. So it's like both of them. Not just, it's like it all relies on him now because if he does bad, it's all his fault.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more pressure on him, especially since I think he has like I think they talked about his wife who's pregnant or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's got to be like in his 30s if his wife's having their first kid.
Yeah.
Probably not Mormon and pops him out at 20. So.
Yep. So yeah.
So I don't know. I think it could be good. I think he has the right experience. I just hope he's taking the right approach to it. I did think it was weird that he quit his job to look for a business to buy rather than just kind of doing that on the side.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He wasn't my favorite. Okay, how was Jim's purchase? How has Jim purchased this venture?
I think they said he paid like 100,000 of his own money, right? In equity. Then I think he said he wrote a seller's note and then a 6-year agreement to the founder.
Gosh, how do you remember all that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
No,
Like,
I wrote it down. I didn't remember it.
Oh,
Steven really loved this case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is a pretty good way of approaching of buying a business because he doesn't have like he didn't go to a bank and get a loan, right, for the money. Instead, he just like got it from different parts. So I think that was pretty smart of him to do that, to not just get it from a bank, because if he defaults from a loan, he's screwed.
Yeah.
But instead he had 100,000 in cash, and then he like did a seller's note, an agreement with the founder. So I think that was pretty smart of him.
I did think having an arrangement with the seller was kind of a smart way to do it. I did think how they like managed it was kind of interesting, but it does keep the seller protected, which is important. If I was going to sell my family business, I'd want to be protected.
Yeah, exactly.
With the baby on the way.
What are the implications of this financial structure?
Well, that means he's gonna have a lot of debt, right? That's gonna come his way, and he's gonna be in trouble if the company fails or doesn't live up to expectations. Because he needs a way to get back. He needs a way to earn back all the money he invested, and be able to pay back all these debts. So it's like a risk, like Madison said, a huge risk.
I agree. A lot's depending on him and how much he can process and get moving. So yeah, if he messes up on one thing, it's going to affect a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys remember in the case, he talked about how this was the cheapest option he found. Because he had been looking through other companies to buy, but this was the cheapest one. So I don't know. That could be a good thing and a bad thing too. Because it could be cheap. It could be cheap for a reason. Kind of like when you buy cheap stuff, it could turn back. It could be really bad in the end.
It's true, because it talked about the building being crummy, even though it was a lease, and then it talked about the employees having their union that didn't really get along with them.
Yeah, they had a strike or something.
Yeah,
every 3 years.
Yeah, which is not good.
Yeah, because any business owner knows that their employees are the number one. They're the number one asset. So if you don't make them happy, your company is not going to be good.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely a lot more work that's going to be put into it than he's used to.
Yeah, and I think their equipment isn't really that good either, right? This is something about it being old.
Yeah, it was 20 years.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Okay, the next question, unless anyone has any further comments. Next question says, what should Jim Sharpie do on his first day as owner of Extrusion Technology Company?
I said he should work on getting the employees to trust him. But I don't know, that's hard because the business needs so much work that it's kind of where do you begin at this point? But I think having that employee trust will help him kind of get everything else off the ground and running. So that was what I said, but I don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think he should just get to know them, and I'm pretty sure when employees have strikes, they're usually demanding something, right?
Yeah.
So I think he should go over those demands. I don't know if it was part of the exhibits. I'm trying to remember if it was. And just go over that list and see what he can like come to terms with the employees, with the demands, and see where he can go from there.
You guys are gonna laugh, but I totally put employees too.
Of course we did.
Like, we always all do the same thing. But yeah, I kind of thought the same lines as, I mean, your company can't progress if your employees aren't like willing to work for you. So I felt like he needed to put an effort in to like be their friend almost, or at least familiar with them.
Yeah. And also, I think he should set goals too, right, for his company, like the first day. Kind of like, well, I think he should do that before that, kind of like IBC. Always bring back IBC into this. How like on like the first, before we even started the company, we had goals of what we were trying to achieve, financial goals, operational goals, and marketing goals. So I think he should do that too. Just like see what the company has done good so far, see what they can improve on, and then set goals, plans for that.
Yeah,
that's true. You do have to know like what kind of direction you want to go in. I mean, you can't just say I want to make $1 million. You have to have specific steps.
Exactly.
Okay, next question. What should his action plan be for the next 6 months, next 12 months? And what should his priorities be, which we kind of talked about.
Yeah, well, after he gets the employees' trust, I guess he should like start fixing the machines, right?
Yeah,
Like
he might
get
go
new,
into one before he gets step free.
yeah, get new ones. Um, After he gains the trust of like all the employees, he should start like fixing the building too, because it looks like it's pretty old too.
I did think it was interesting that the old owner told him like you should work on the machine for 2 years so you know how it works.
Yeah.
I was like, or you could just hire a really good technician for a new machine. I don't know. That just seemed weird to me that was their advice, was to work on it personally, which as a CEO, I'm sure that would be a great learning opportunity, but not necessarily for what your time value is.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, I think working on machinery is going to be really important after he gets the trust of employees. And then I think cutting costs is going to be a big one as well.
Yep. Did you guys see the Excel sheet? I used it, not that much though. Did you guys finish it?
I looked through it.
I looked through it, but I didn't finish it.
Yeah, I didn't finish it either.
Most of it's just like fill this in. There's not really like a lot of financial stuff to put in.
Yeah. Do you know if that has to be turned in with the case analysis, or is that just separate?
I think it's just something we get, like in his little video that he makes at the beginning of the week, he just talked about it being like a help to us.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Did we have any other priorities he should have?
Let's see. So we talked about the machines, about the building, about the workers. I don't know anything else. What do you guys think? Did you guys see anything else in the case that he should work on for the next couple of years?
I mean, he's got to figure out the union stuff, but that kind of goes in with workers. I mean, I think he should look into buying the building even, but that's kind of distant future.
Did he say that it was on a lease to buy, or was that something else that was a lease to buy? I can't remember.
I don't think the building was, but I can't remember for sure.
I can't either. I just remember something was a lease to buy, and I was like, oh, then he should buy it if he's going to use it that long.
Yeah.
All right. The last question is, did Jim make the right acquisition?
I think personally, from his standard, it looks like he made a good acquisition. But like that's what he thinks is good. But if I was him, I don't think it would have been a good one. Because first of all, I don't know if you guys saw a couple red flags that occurred when he was talking to the owner. But he was like, he told him like, you can't talk to the employees or you can't talk to the clients. That was kind of suspicious. I would be like, what the heck?
Yeah, and then just like how many rules the previous owner set in place before he agreed on selling the company, like that would be suspicious to me because like, okay, so if the company tanks, you get it all the money basically, and then he's just kind of screwed with what's left over. And just like all the little rules that he set in place, that would kind of, I don't know, make me question why he was being so careful about it.
I did think it was interesting that he said like Jim went home and ran the numbers and made an offer, but then the current owner was like, oh yeah, there's some like company cars and my dad has a salary. Like he didn't give him all this information right away.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, the only good thing that came out of it is like Jim's dream of becoming a business owner became true.
Yeah.
After all those years of working, like of being like the second guy in command or being like that worker who's always in the back, not saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like now he's in charge, but like I think he paid a really big price for that.
Yeah.
And we'll see where it goes in the end.
I think as far as like location and stuff like that, I mean, he made sure it was close to his home, which is close to his wife's work. So like that's ideal, but I don't know. It said there were 200 opportunities. It seems like there could have been better ones.
Yeah.
So I guess the cheapest opportunity isn't always the best one. That's maybe what you should have considered.
I'm guessing that's the summary.
Yep.
Hey, let's do it. All right, I'll start it.
Madison.
No.
I can start. My goodness. So in summary, we discussed as a group Jim and his purchase of this company. We kind of felt like there could have been other opportunities that might have been better. This one was definitely one of the cheapest. But we did discuss that he took a lot of pressure on himself by being the sole owner of it and by running everything, and that he does have a lot of priorities coming his way, like the employees and the union and cutting costs and the building and the equipment issues. There's a lot of things that he's going to have to deal with and work with right away. What did I miss?
Yeah, so Jim now has this opportunity to fulfill his lifetime dream of becoming a business owner. Instead of being the guy who sits in the back, he now has this opportunity to like take full control of a company and help it improve. And we'll see where it goes from here because it's a huge risk he's taking. But it looks like he's been prepared. Out of all these experiences he's had, he's prepared for this, and we have full confidence in him.
Yes. Also some red flags within the business deal that maybe he should have looked into a little bit further. And we concluded that the cheapest option isn't always the best option.
Exactly.
The end.
All right.